Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Road to Grandmaster series here on the GothamChess YouTube channel. This is episode number 29. And in this series, I'm taking you through the behind the scenes of what it takes to achieve the Grandmaster title, both through my over-the-board tournament recaps and my training videos with my coach, Grandmaster Arturs Nixons. This is our first lesson after my second chess tournament played in New York City. And at the time of recording this video, my ELO has gone up from 2,322 to 2,370. A very quick reminder that on YouTube, I post snippets of lessons where we do analysis or new training positions and so on and so forth. But folks on the Patreon do get unlimited access of hours and hours and hours of footage. I will put a link in the description to that. And before we jump into the games today, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Babel. Folks, chess is an international game, and I get inspired by how large the international community is on this channel, so I like to learn languages both for self-improvement and anytime I travel. That's why I use Babel. Babel is one of the top language learning apps in the world. And Babel is scientifically proven by researchers at Yale University and other top institutions to help you start speaking a new language in just 3 weeks. And that's great because I've actually got a chess tournament coming up in Italy in just 3 weeks. And using Babel, I've gotten pretty good at Italian. Obviously, I can say ciao, grazie, prego, and also ti piacerebbe giocare a scacchi con me. There's a lot of fun and realistic lessons on Babel as a beginner, so you're not just repeating the same stuff over and over. So let's see how it goes.
Di dove sei?
And since they're asking di dove sei, here you would say sono di Siena, ma abito a Pisa.
Sono di Siena, ma abito a Pisa.
And so, my friends, your summer travel may also just be around the corner. With just 10 minutes a day, Babel can get you on your way to speaking a new language and making that trip a little bit more memorable. Folks, you know how this works. Clicking the link in the description will get you 60% off your Babel subscription. And feel free to leave a comment about which language you've been wanting to learn. All right, let's get back to the video.
Yeah, that's the game where you said you had zero feel. Overall, nice line. I understand you don't feel it, but your prep worked. You got everything you knew that was coming. I understand. Okay, I remember in the recap you watched about Order the Moose. I think it was here. Yeah, where Queen C7, you're wondering.
No, Queen E2, B6, E4.
Yeah. You're wondering about is there any difference between these Order the Moose? Of course, you should do that. You should always try to extract more, but if you're not sure, just continue with the plan. Yeah, this was still pretty nice. Bishop a3, rook d1. I remember Hikaru said something about bishop on a3 not being on the right spot. I'm not sure. Maybe.
But this is like the main line, so I don't know.
Yeah, okay, I'm not going to argue with the Super GM, but okay, fine. Yeah, but there's a very concrete idea. You're pressing the pawn on c5, and if he takes, the bishop is very strong. Yeah, so. And typically black does take on d4. Yeah, so at some point, so I'm not really sure what to say. Okay, so whatever. All of this was prep. This was okay. Here I understand you were out of the prep, so h5 was pretty easy move. Actually, I was a bit surprised. I think here I joined in for the moment. I was following the games, yeah, and I was surprised it took you so long to play h5.
Definitely bad time management in this game. I mean, I wasn't ever in time trouble, but like definitely just kind of slow. I mean, I was looking at all sorts of, like I was looking and I was trying to understand why, which is kind of stupid in hindsight. Like obviously you play h4 and all of this in order to play h5. But I was thinking maybe it's to play f4. Like I was thinking maybe it's not to play h5, it's to play f4 and f5 and then h5.
No.
So I was just, and I spent way too much time. I was thinking maybe he like already can go rook d5. Then I was thinking he can play h6. And then I was like, am I supposed to play f4 in this position? And then, so I mean, I just kind of spent a bit too much time. I played h5. Then I was trying to understand, like, am I trying to take? Am I trying to leave the pawn here? You know, because he went here. And I thought, like, am I trying to take?
Are you unfamiliar with the positions from the, what was this? Grunfeld, anti-Grunfeld, where you play, no, but you do play it, no? h4, h5, take
no,
it.
I'm pretty, like, I'm pretty unfamiliar. I don't really, I was totally inventing stuff on my own here.
Because I thought that's like a typical plan. You know, you play h4, h5, you take on g6, and then you use the h file.
Now I know.
Okay,
So, yeah,
okay.
so,
I'll have to think about how do we work on this.
I mean, I thought I played fine, but I have to say, like, yeah, I was looking at his position, just going, man, this opening is resilient. I mean, it is, and it's not just resilient. I mean, he's actively fighting back. I felt like I didn't.
I mean, first thing, do not give him too much credit. He has done nothing wrong. He's not supposed to collapse in 50 moves.
I know. I wasn't saying anything, but I was just, yeah, I don't know. I somehow feel like this was my one plan of, and yeah. By the way, I did see Bishop f5, but I didn't get the point. It's not that I overvalued. I just was like, so what's the point? I don't get it.
This is a very good point, and I started to think about this because this kind of surprise that you are not considering the bishop trade for the knight also appeared later in this game, when you had the knight on e4, and in the recap you say, oh, he could take on e4. Why would you do that, right? And then I started to think where this could be coming from, and I thought maybe we talked a bit too much about the importance of the bishops. Because I was like kind of pushing that bishops are important and everything. But it also could have a different effect, is that you are somehow now giving too much credit for them, right? Because, for example, if you go back to this position, where you have the, okay, I can also go back here. Why would you not even consider bishop trade for the knight? Because the knight on f5 is, if you simply formulate a couple of things. So do not think like, oh, bishop on d3 is really strong, knight on f5 is stupid. They're equal pieces. The knight on f5 holds together the king side, and then he doesn't have the knight h6 resource. So it's definitely a move, especially since after bishop takes on f5, he takes on f5, queen h4, he has difficulties to defend against the queen h7 threat. I would understand that you have difficulties to evaluate this position. Yeah, and you would have to like see a couple of next moves. But I think there is also an idea that you're threatening to play at some point queen h7 and then c4, maybe even c4 immediately, c4 d5, use the pawn play. Yeah, after c4 d5, you shut off the bishop, and if he takes, it's just a mate. So maybe this is something where you can take some notes that do not automatically exclude some trades because you somehow overvalue the importance of certain pieces.
Yeah, I want to say that's not why I didn't play it. I think I didn't see my plan, and maybe it has to do with the fact that mentally these pawns were frozen. Like I only really considered DC and breaking it all open, but I didn't really consider this.
Speaking of DC, that's, I think, is the wrong direction. Because especially in the Grunfeld, I don't think black is like almost ever afraid about d takes on c5. Okay, you could argue, why did I put the bishop on a3 in the first place? I think you put the bishop on a3 so that he can never play c takes on d4. I think that's why you put it. But are you really threatening to take on c5? And I felt that in this game you had like too much attention to this. Yeah, that you played later knight e4. You're like really, threatening to take on c5. I'm not so sure this is.
So yeah. That I guess that really is what it came down to. Whereas, yeah, if I had seen take queen h4, okay, he can go here. I can play f3, and then play for this. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
or e4 also makes perfect sense. Yeah, so
was it for like
queen f4? Yeah, maybe. But actually, I think you could already improvise and try to think about going for some kingside attack. Could I throw in some e4? I don't know, just an idea. I'm seeing some ideas like e4, e takes, queen h7, queen f5. Maybe black is not in time. So, for example, I would just be thinking, here, takes, I want to play f6. Yeah, with some mate ideas. Maybe there's no mate, I'm not sure. So he takes it, queen h7, king f8, queen f5. There's some ideas here. And at least visually, I'm looking at the board, I see that the queen on a3 is disconnected.
Yeah, I guess there's bishop d5, but I...
Okay, yeah, okay, maybe bishop d5 just kills all the fun, really. But
Yeah,
that
but
would be my direction.
I get... Yeah, I get the point. Maybe I just saw something like that. Maybe I saw queen a4 and I just thought like, well, I have to... There's no way this is right. But maybe it's... Maybe, yeah, maybe e4 is a very good... But this requires some calculation. I mean, like, you know, e4, giving up this. But the thing is, maybe... And then, like, a2 is hanging. I don't know. I just...
Look at this, yeah, but make sure that you are somehow subconsciously not giving, again, too much credit for the pawn. Yeah, we kind of talk about it, the pawns are not important, etc. And then in some lines, still maybe the reason not to proceed forward is that because we lose some useless pawn on a2.
Yeah, but it's still difficult to come up with a move here, I feel. Right. I don't know what the evaluation is.
Go for attack. d4? Or there's already some captures on d4. Yeah, c takes on d4. Okay, maybe there's nothing, yeah. Like bishop d4. Bishop d4, I was thinking, oh wait, it wins. Rook d4.
Rook d4, yeah, but I was thinking like maybe this is just winning for white. I don't know. But
yeah, me neither. But I think what you can do, where you can try to improve your mindset, is that you're a bit more open-minded. Yeah, that you're not like automatically discarding, oh, yeah, after queen a4, drop the pawn on a2. Yeah, I cannot do this. Yeah. I understand, of course, that was not the main reason. The main reason was that you had strong objections of giving up the bishop on d3, and it is a bit unusual. I agree. Yeah, it's not the most usual move, but this is a very concrete position.
yeah.
All right. I mean, you missed it. Fine. I'm not sure if I would have played bishop f5 myself. I don't think I would take on f5 if I don't have a follow-up. So I would be like, I would definitely consider bishop f5, but I would have to see. I would have to see what's the follow-up after this.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think maybe f4 here. Yeah.
Yes. This was the moment I felt totally you have to play for, because I was very unhappy you play queen h7. Because after queen h7, king f8, f4 is quite difficult. I mean, okay, if you're very, again, open-minded, then maybe f4 is not really that difficult. You know, it looks a bit crazy.
Yeah. My problem with f4 was that why did I play all of this if I'm not going to attack his king?
Yes, and there you go. Again, you are going to attack it.
Yeah.
You are going to attack it, but I think there might be some roadblock. Again, intuitively, you are afraid to give up the pawn. And again, you look at this position, obviously, you're cooking up something at the king side, so your focus should be on the king side. So how do you proceed?
Yeah, but like this line with, you know, e4, he can move e5.
Yeah, but is it really so difficult? You see, again, it might be that you do care for this pawn, or is this position still feeling risky to you? Does this pawn matter?
I think for me it's borderline impossible at the moment to end my calculations in this position and say like, okay, I'm just going for it. Like I don't have like this. I don't know if it's a skill or this is just not my style. Like,
you're just not there yet.
Pawn down, quiet move.
You'll get there.
Yeah.
You're just not there yet, but you will get there, because if you try to imagine this position, again, I very often in my games, I use a lot of backwards thinking. Are you asking me if I would pick up f4, e4, c takes c4? I'm not sure. It is a pretty difficult, out of the box imaginary. I'm not sure if I would do this, tell you honestly. I could say, of course, I would, but I'm not sure. But you can think about it from the black's perspective. Try to picture a plan for black. What do you do?
Yeah, that's very difficult for me in calculation. Like to just because I'm thinking of like all the forcing moves. Then once I finish all the forcing moves, you know, moves are just flying in my head. Like, can the knight move? No, because of mate. Okay, maybe bishop f8. No, take queen h6. Like, okay, what about counterplay? Where, you know, and then it's like, is my plan bishop d6 or knight e4, bishop e4, g4? Like, what am? And then
I think
yeah.
it's G4. I think
Yeah,
so.
but I
Some
would have
sort of
spent, you
like-
know, I would have spent time looking at this, and then you know, maybe I don't know, you know, and then I would look at g4 and maybe, but ultimately, yeah, this is hard for me. I mean,
I know. This is Levy. This is already the Levy trio, I think.
I don't, I'm not even sure, like, if I pulled GMs, they would play for this. Like, this is a hard line, I feel.
It is a hard line.
Like, this is a really hard line.
It is a hard line. But again, I mean, try to picture yourself, if you go back a bit. So it is a hard line. I'm not arguing. It's a tough line. But if you go back, for example, here, and ask yourself the question, how else do you continue?
You know, I would actually argue that it's easier to find this because at least it's like forcing, like, oh, knight e3, and then, you know, what about rook e1, bishop g6?
Oh, okay. Okay.
I almost feel like, you know, you justify, because to me, this is so natural. You have like the super bishop now.
Yeah.
And again, yeah, you're right. I totally tunnel visioned on the fact that the knight has to go here, because in the prep, in a lot of lines, the knight goes to e4.
I see, yeah.
So I'm just like, oh, the knight always has to go to e4.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not the case, and I should have just been open, but I wasn't. Like, maybe the lesson here is, yeah, I just saw knight takes e3. It was like, what? That's just a blunder. I can't
But
do
okay,
that.
let's imagine he doesn't do this. He doesn't, after f4, he doesn't take on e3, and he does something else. What do you do next? Okay, a fair question probably would be what he's gonna do, which is, you know, not so easy to even imagine.
Yeah, now I feel I have a really nice version of the position. I mean, if he tries to trap my... Again, like, let's just say he plays the way he did in the game, I guess I have to find a
Now you're playing
breakthrough.
for.
Yeah, I guess now I can always play for e4, and
Okay, fair point.
I don't know, also, do I have this? Maybe, sometimes. Maybe not right away.
It's a very concrete. F5 also is incoming. Very concrete, yeah. I'm not sure. I would ask myself, yeah, is obviously I would check it. Maybe it's immediately killing the game, and also am I not doing funny stuff here?
Yeah, exactly. But this move, I mean, it didn't even occur to me. It's not like I even calculated, but I would argue that this is not like that insane.
No, it's not insane. No, it's not insane. But again, it's very often like you said exactly the same in the recap as sometimes I'm saying. You know, sometimes there's some c takes on d4. Yeah, we find excuses. You know, we find excuses not to do things like there's never c takes on d4. Yeah, because there's the bishop on a3. He's calling it.
Yeah.
So it's visually looking dangerous, but again, it's very concrete. Chess is a very concrete game. All right, I'm gonna agree with you, but I felt that also this entire line with f4, if I may go back so that we can proceed forward. This entire line with f4 without queen h7 also I felt was pretty okay. And imagine you have this position. For some reason, let's say you didn't have queen h7. I mean, what else do you do? Yeah, I mean, what else? What else is there? You need pawns.
Yeah, I thought g4, knight f3.
Ah.
And I just thought, like, he can't really make a move. I slowly improve my position.
And then you do what?
I didn't see a breakthrough, but I just thought it's very hard for him to move. I also saw this, but again, I just couldn't get over the fact that I opened the H file, played knight g5, queen h3, and I am not going to h7. So I just thought,
right,
it has to be queen h7.
Yeah.
And I guess it was if I play f4, but I didn't see
yeah,
f4.
it was connected. Yeah, it was connected. Yeah, but again, maybe one more final note about this bit difficult line of e5, c takes, c4. I have noticed that in general you are much more patient player than you were before. So you're trying not to rush, but still at the time, sometimes you're like trying to rush a bit forward, maybe a bit too fast. So you're like you're much slower. You are like giving yourself more time, but at the same time, there's still some impatience left. Yeah. For example, looking at this position, I'm wondering, could it be that the pawn on a7 somehow influences the game so much that this position becomes unplayable. This is a trick that I always use. I'm thinking, oh yeah, this is such a complex position. What am I going to do here? It's not so obvious, etc., etc., etc. Then just remind myself, wait a second, am I really putting brakes to this position because of this ridiculous pawn on a7? So if I remove it, am I feeling better now?
I mean, the position might even be okay for white with no pawn on a2.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the point. They don't matter. That's why, again, I think it's all about tunnel vision. You see what's happening. You see he has no moves. He's basically paralyzed at the king side. Okay, maybe the challenge here would be finding the continuation. Yeah, what do you do? I mean, do you play bishop b4, knight e4, knight f6? I mean, what do you do? Yeah, bishop on d6 looks nice, like in the game of this from Madrid tournament. Yeah, but what does it do there? All right. Yeah. But I agree. Yeah, queen h7, maybe it's a bit more human. All right, let's go to the next game. This game, wait. If I wanted to add anything.
I mean, yeah, he played.
Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah, yeah, rook d5, rook d8 was unbelievable. I mean, yeah, it's not that I was overvaluing the bishop here. Bishop e4, it's like just a very concrete move.
Yeah,
and
knight on e4 is dangerous. It needs to be killed.
Yeah, and
so it shouldn't be a surprise. Yeah, it's like he wants to kill the knight. He's annoyed.
Yeah,
you can do backwards thinking. What do I do if I'm playing with black? I want to kill the knight. It's bothering me. Why do I want to kill the knight? I want to play maybe f5, king f7, trap the queen.
But what was happening here was, so it was a mix of things. It was, I was already down on time, and it was poor time management from earlier in the game. It was huge tunnel vision trying to make some tactics work here. Just nothing works. So I just spent many minutes calculating, like, does something work? Combined with a small panic, like, am I going to get my queen trapped? Because... And then all of that together, at some point, I really, I had a plan here, bishop c2, dc5, like, and then I went, oh my god, he can just take the knight. Which is his only forcing move. I mean, in many ways, I should have been considering it, but like, combined with f5 and queen g5, that's when a really deep realization set in that actually I have to be very careful. So I went here to protect the second rank.
Yeah, which brings the question. Why did you choose rook d2 instead of king g2?
I think there was a reason.
Because king g2 felt much more natural. You're covering some weaknesses. You most notably the g3 square. You're avoiding some checks. Or you're afraid of some f5 push here?
No, I wanted to... Maybe I wanted to attack the knight right away. But I guess you're saying king g2, rook h1 would have done the same thing.
Exactly.
I think I wanted to keep the rook on the f file since he was going to play f5. So I just thought, like, so why not? I thought this is where the rooks should be.
I see. Yeah, I see. Okay, yeah. Then it's tough to say. I think that I would probably intuitively like to cover my king a bit. So that
of course I thought king g2. I just thought like the rook on d1 doesn't make sense, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
All right. Okay.
Also, yeah, here again, I didn't have much time, so I thought I have to sack the pawn. But again, it's like bad time management. Now I have 8 minutes left to, and I had to realize f5. Then I can play f4. Like then it's a totally different story. But yeah,
a little time on the clock, you're not going to do it.
Yeah, no. I mean, I just thought, okay, like I thought he would go here, and we would play, and yeah, maybe I would sack the bishop. I don't know, but then
yeah, this is why I want to ask: what would you do if you're here right now? So. This is what you implied during the recap. I would maybe sacrifice the bishop, maybe not, but since we're here, what would you do?
I don't know. I don't think I would have sacrificed the bishop.
Okay. What would you do?
I think maybe I was considering rook f2 to play here.
So he plays knight f5?
Yeah,
he's going to play knight f5.
Yeah, we have to trade, and then... or maybe I was considering rook g5. Yeah, rook g5.
Oh, wow.
So, Knight
And
f5.
knight f5 anyway?
Yeah, I think c5 is hanging sometimes.
Ah.
But maybe there's like f5. Maybe not. I don't know. But I saw this and I thought, well, at least I can. I don't know. Maybe I think the engine refutes this somehow. But
Yeah.
I thought I can at least get this, and I thought, okay, I'm not losing, so you know.
No,
But
this
yeah,
is pretty good to you, considering what could have been.
yeah. So I thought Rook G5 was not horrible, but I remember the engine finds something, of course. But I thought Rook G5 was like practically okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have. I mean, this. But maybe. I mean, and then you don't even take. You play.
Yeah,
E4.
yeah, I saw the engine. I saw the engine. I mean, e4 kind of makes sense. You're waiting for queen f6. You take out f5 square. Kind of makes sense. It visually looks dangerous. Black can take on d4. Of course, he can never do it. I'm not sure about that though.
I saw e4 in this position, like e4. I thought it was very, very cool. Because his point is that rook h6, king e7. Rook h6, king e7. So
Yeah,
I
I get it.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in this game, I mean, I guess I learned a lot. I learned about all of these kind of, you know, dynamic moves like f4 and all of these Grunfeld structures. And yeah, maybe if I had played this line, and I will play this line again. It's not like I'm never going to play it again. Like, but I was so hesitant, like, about the h-file attack and then my knight going to e4. And it was bad time management. I mean, if I had 30 minutes, 40 minutes toward the end of the game,
it's normal.
know.
I mean, again, don't be hard on yourself. It's normal. You play a new line for the first time, you have zero feel.
Yeah, I think that's really what contributed. And yeah, in hindsight, like f4 should have been there, but knight e4 and the tunnel vision on c5, and it was just wrong. I mean, the whole thing was not, you know, and... But I was, you know, I was relieved I didn't, I knew right away here that he thought I was going to repeat, and I had a feeling this was the end. Because he saw his queen was trapped if he moves his knight.
Yeah, one more question, final question about this moment. In the recap, you said when he gave up the bishop, he panicked, of course, yeah. Where was this? Couple of months later. Yeah. So, you had here like 6 minutes or 7. I was watching this, I think.
Yeah.
In the live, you were considering DDX on c5.
Yeah.
Why? Why? Why would you do that?
I thought he's losing by force anyway. And I thought, you know, at least if I take his bishop with the weakened c-pawn, I always have a check. I mean, on the one hand, yes, no funny business. I totally get it. On the other hand, I think my confidence was a bit rattled by this game, and I thought, like, oh my god, you know, he has some tricks. My queen is trapped. To be honest, at first I didn't see rook h7, so I just thought, like, oh my god, my queen is gonna get ping-ponged around, and rook h8, and I was scaring myself, you know, like I'm getting mated, which is...
But even here, queen b7, no?
Yeah, but I don't. But now I can take. Now I can, you know, and yeah.
You just found something there which is not there.
Yeah. So it was. Yeah, it was. I was much sharper later in the event. Here I was. I mean, yeah. Okay. Of course, you just take, and I don't know, but I know how I felt in this game, even on king e7. Like, why did I spend 5 minutes? What am I doing?
Yeah,
like,
you had like 6 or 7. You got to 2 minutes, and okay.
I did something similar, maybe against. Oh, I did something against Sevenovich. Yeah, but that was later.
Yeah, Sevenovich, different story. Yeah, I also have some suggestions there. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Novik, yours game, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't play my prep, which is amazing. Which was great. Like the prep is like to play a bit more aggressively. I just thought I would play the structure and. Can I ask you, like, can I already just take on d4, play like 97, 96, like it? So is there any quick frameworks? Like, I was thinking getting him to take with the pawn might be better for me in the endgame, but then I was thinking if I take and he takes with the knight, e5 will be a bit loose. So
I think you're overthinking. You're thinking about your move 10. And you're thinking about no 50 or 60.
Yeah.
In the endgame, I'm going to get to the pawn on d4.
But should I just take on d4 right away? Like, I don't...
Yeah, I think so. And you know why? Because
It doesn't matter, like because it really makes no difference. Like, is that why? I don't know.
no, I think it does matter. I was a bit surprised he didn't play c3.
Okay.
This really surprised me because I felt that this is a typical French defense position. Sometimes in anti-Moscow races. Okay, maybe I have played it way too many times myself with white. You just secure the center and just play it like a normal French, and there's always a minor advantage to white. And I think what you did not understand this game, I don't know what contributed. I already don't remember what you said in the recap. Sorry, but where's your pawn play? And that's why the entire idea, the entire decision to transfer the weight from the pawn on d4 to pawn on c3 was just a bad idea, because you can much easier to organize your pawn, not pawn play, but your counterplay against the pawn on d4. But playing c5, c4 just made no sense at all. Yeah, because then you are like, his center is safe and he can do whatever he wants, like king said.
Yeah. Yeah, I overthought it completely.
Yeah, totally. But try not to overthink in general. So you already see you're doing this still.
Yeah.
You're doing this in this game. You're doing this. You were doing this in the game against Belyanikov, like thinking how I'm gonna beat this guy in 60 moves, etc. Your move 10. Yeah, just play it out, play the good moves, and trust that the game is gonna take you in the right direction. If not, the worst case that's gonna happen it's going to be a draw. Yeah, not really a tragedy. Yeah. So also, I think it's very important to calm yourself with in peace. That draw, fine. Like, don't treat like, yeah, draw is such a terrible result. No, I'm gonna better burn all the bridges. I'm never accepting draw. Better lose. Why?
Yeah.
Okay, draw, fine. Okay, fine. You played a great game. Congratulations. Yeah, but there's this inner peace with yourself. I think it's very important.
Yeah, I really am not sure why I took on d4. In my defense, I was...
You didn't take on d4.
No, I know. I'm saying, like, I don't know why I didn't. And also, I was just gonna say, in my defense, like, if you watch the camera of this game, I must have yawned like 20 times. I mean, I was just... So the thought going through my head was, it's the second game of the day. I'm tired. I'm like completely tired. I am not thinking straight.
Did you have draw?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. But I was thinking. But I was thinking, yeah, the draw is on move 15, and obviously we're playing in a norm event, so I thought, maybe we'll see. We'll see, and obviously I can't make quick draws in every game because it's like not good as a ambassador of the game. But yeah, then he played here. I mean, I thought I played fine. I don't know. I was like trading. I don't know, unless you disagree. I thought I played okay, but I just didn't have much play.
Yeah, this knight on g6. I'm not a big fan of. What's it doing there? To be honest,
there's some lines in the in the analysis beforehand where white has a knight here, or like, let's say, and your knight goes here, and you try to put some pressure on this pawn.
Okay,
but I guess I should have,
It just feels weird. I also included in the classroom my game against Eldest. That's the game you can replay. It's exactly the same structure.
In the U.S. Junior Championship, this exact line happened. So my friend and I were thinking, like, maybe they saw the recap, and white was surprised, but played the same way Novik did. White played c3, knight d2, knight f3, and completely destroyed black.
Yeah, it's a nice line.
Yeah, basically this taught me I will never play queen d7 again, probably. And I will probably just play the main line.
No, maybe you just need to work out toward equality, where you are having an okay game, but...
yeah, I was like, I need to play my prep. I shouldn't, yeah, this game was filled with questionable decisions. I don't know how you felt about like the end, but at some point I kind of snapped out of it and I decided, okay, yeah, I just played like super passively, and somewhere here I had 12 minutes remaining and I decided, okay, I'm gonna blitz all my moves, I'm gonna set up like this, come get me, and then I had a well-timed counterplay, and I guess I got him scared, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I tried to understand if king h8 was a good move, or you should have started with a6 immediately. I realized it's a tough choice, because if you play a6, you basically by force lose a pawn, and I was not sure I liked those positions. So maybe I would have played exactly the same.
Why does it say tell a story of a frog?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I included it so that I would remember to tell you a story, which you know, right? I was not sure if this is really related, but it's been proven that if you put a frog in a cauldron and you put a fire on and you start to cook it, the frog is gonna cook. It's not gonna jump out. You don't know?
No.
So I thought there's some parallel to the position. The position is getting worse and worse and worse. And I felt that are you not like being a frog here? You're getting cooked. It's getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and you're not making the decision. So this was like directed to the idea that you're a bit passive. Things are getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. That's why I said.
So you're saying I should have considered a6 faster?
Faster. Yes, that was the idea. I was thinking, was this a better choice? And I was not sure. That's why I thought, okay, maybe this funny moment of a frog.
Yeah, I mean, I should have probably played a6 like 5 moves ago.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah. And now if you put the knight on g7 and knight g8, it just already feels there's a kill. So there's a kill. I don't know where it is. In the recap, you showed some amazing line. I really don't remember it, but I feel with such bad knights.
Something like that where he can sacrifice and
passive play last line worked in 19th century, I think. So
yeah,
I think in general it's not good. Yeah, so that's why I made a silly comparison. So I sometimes do it myself. Make sure I'm not the frog that I'm cooking. Yeah.
Yeah. Might have been time now. I just thought, okay, I'll rearrange like this. He's gonna go here. I also thought when he plays like this, he has a commitment. At least it feels like he has a commitment to keep his queen here because he needs to protect his pawns a bit. Obviously, then the computer shows this way he can like reposition.
This is like the typical plan for white. F3, H4, G4.
Yeah. I was like thinking throughout the game how to not let it happen, and then I realized, what have I done? I mean, he's completely gonna get. But I don't know. I felt like these are the kind of games you can lose or not lose, so I didn't lose.
All right.
And
yeah, but maybe this moment. I'm not sure how easy is this if we talk about the frog here. So a6. He plays f3, you organize the counterplay. Now after g4, knight g7, he would have to make a decision. Does he want to take the pawn? Which I suppose anyone is going to play. Yeah, knight h3, you just go back. King h7. It feels risky, but...
yeah. But this is why I played king h8, knight g8.
Yeah, but maybe this is the moment when we can sell the pawn. They got out of the trouble. Yeah,
maybe. But I set up like this because I can't lose the pawn. So I thought, okay, then I will go here. Of course, it's like.
Have I shown you this example? I do not remember. I had this one amazing game when I was playing against one guy. I was seriously pressing, and he had the opportunity to give up a pawn just like that, So he had an opportunity to give up a pawn and enter knight endgame down a pawn. Everything is equal, but he's down a pawn, just down a pawn. So he's choosing either go here, I'm down a pawn, or I'm suffering. What do you choose?
Well, obviously you kind of want to. You mean you have the choice?
No, you. What do you choose?
Like as the defender?
Yeah, you have the choice. You can enter a position down a pawn. Okay, I could show you, of course. Yeah, so okay, now imagine some hypothetical position where your opponent has 3 pawns versus 3 at the king side, 2 pawns versus 1 at the queen side. The 1 pawn blocks the 2 pawns so that there's no immediate pass pawn, and 1 knight each. There's that. This is your choice number 1, door number 1, and door number 2. You're just playing worse position. You're hoping you're gonna hold on.
No, I don't know. Out of those two, defending the worst position might be better. I don't know how bad it is, though.
So I think that's the recipe of the frog, right? So you're sitting there, you're hoping, I can always give up the pawn. I'll always do it. And then later, it was very funny. Then and later in the game, when things got really hot, he decided to jump out. And he was like, okay, you can have my pawn, but I don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
That's it. He was gone immediately. So maybe I'll show you another time, right? So maybe this comparison with the frog is not very appropriate. Sometimes I'm the frog myself, but I somehow feel it allows me to better explain the concept. Is that we are too much willing to hold on to the material balance, but we are so unwilling to give up a pawn to solve our problems. Like if you would follow the games of MVL, and maybe you could organize a separate lesson how MVL gets out of the trouble all the time. Typical MVL gives up the pawn always. I have never ever seen Maxime sitting in a passive defense ever. He always gives up a pawn. It's in his blood. That's how he plays.
Yeah, I've noticed that actually.
There's always a choice, always sacrifice pawn. Okay, even if there's not enough competition, always sacrifice the pawn. This is how he understands chess. Active defense over passive defense, always.
Yeah.
All right. That's it about this game. I'm very happy you survived it.
Me too.
Yeah. All right.
Hello, it's me again. You might have seen me in the introduction. Thank you once again for watching. This was a breakdown of rounds 2 and 3 from the tournament that I played, and hopefully you learned a couple of things. Hopefully you got some useful advice from Coach. Again, if you would like to unlock all of the GM lessons, they are on the Patreon, as well as a whole bunch of other things. Link is in the description. And Road to Grandmaster series continues from here on out. So thanks for watching, and you know the drill at this point. Get out of here.